Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey of My Mother's Son podcast. Today I am joined with one of my former players and a good friend of mine, Kyle Stover. We are actually in our RV in his front lawn in southern New York County, and we just wanted to talk to him a little bit. We heading south and wanted to connect with some players. So Kyle, thanks for taking the time out. I know you're just finished an all-night shift, and you're willing to sit down and talk a little bit before you go to bed.
Heck yeah! No, I'm glad you stopped in. It's great to catch up with old friends.
Absolutely,
it means a lot. So
it's funny. We were talking last night, and you don't always realize how long you've been part of people's lives. Mm-hmm. And when you said last night, I'm 36 now, and it really hit me where I'm like, wow. I started coaching you when you were 15, mm-hmm. and that's a long time.
I think we met actually when I was 14. Right. Actually, when you had the sporting goods shop there at the indoor baseball facility, and it's been a while. When you stop and reflect, that's almost 2/3 of my life right there that I've known you.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, been to your wedding,
yep.
to first birthday parties.
Mm-hmm.
We've been to Fenway Park together to watch
up and back in the day.
All-nighters. So I was training you for this moment.
That might have been it. That might have been one of my first all-nighters, actually.
Kyle and I drove from Pennsylvania to Fenway Park and back in one night for a ALDS game where Manny Ramirez hit a walk-off
Game 6.
K-Rod, and just the Angels walked Big Papi to get to Manny. And
bottom of the ninth. Game 6, I think it was. I think it was Game 6, Game 5, maybe. It was a clinching game.
Yeah.
Of the ALDS.
Yeah.
And that was when they were both in their prime.
Yeah.
Manny was Manny then.
Yep. Yeah.
K-Rod was still with the Angels, and
yep.
he was on top of his game.
It was a heck of a game. Place went crazy. And then we drove back to Pennsylvania.
Yeah. People probably thought, what the heck? Why are they leaving?
Yeah. So again, part of this journey was to reconnect with guys and gals that I haven't seen in years, and obviously this was a great opportunity. You're really the other than Jimmy Everhart a couple weeks ago, the first ones that we've really been able to spend a lot of time with. So I thank you for that. But talk about now you're a registered nurse.
Mm-hmm.
So again, thank you for your service, being out there in the front lines in the midst of a pandemic. Definitely something that you should be very proud of, something I'm proud of to say that one of my players is doing that. But when we go back and you reflect about the game of baseball, what are some of the things that the game itself taught you about life, about being a parent, about being a husband, about being a registered nurse?
First and foremost, you got to think of the team first aspect. Baseball, you can be the best player in the world, but if you don't have 8 other people with you, you can't win. So kind of taught you that aspect, for me anyway. It's just, there's a lot of things in life that baseball's a metaphor. Baseball is one of those, it's a unique game. You can have physical ability to be good at it, but you need to work at it. It's a finesse game. Whether it's, hitting the corner of the strike zone, whether it's making the play in the hole. So it teaches you too that to be good at it, you got to work at it. It's just, at least for me it was. Some people it comes more naturally too. But yeah, you can't get out of it what you don't put into it, and that's kind of a metaphor for life. The harder you work, the luckier you will get. And baseball taught me that at an early age, luckily. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you're the father of 3 young boys.
3, yes.
2, 5, and 6.
Yep.
Fatherhood.
Yeah.
What has it been like for you?
Hectic. It's good. It's definitely a change of pace for me. I'm sure, as you know, father, it changes you as a person, but ultimately I feel like it's a good change. Teaches you patience. That's one thing that it really has taught me, especially for us. It seems like they're close together, and it seems like after a long day work, you got to go get the kids. It's busy, but it's a good kind of busy. It's a different kind of busy that when I first met you, whatever, 15, 20 years ago, you said, how many kids you going to have? I'd say probably none or maybe one, And all these years later, here I am, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. So it definitely, it's one of those things, if you're not ready for it, I'm sure it can be overwhelming. Even if you are ready for it, it's still overwhelming at some points. But yeah, no, it's definitely a good change.
Yeah. So I think a lot of that you probably learned from your own parents. I mean, I know throughout our relationship, and as you played for me over the years, both your parents and grandparents were incredibly supportive of you. I mean, at just about every game that I can remember, if not every game, even through your college years and beyond college when you continued to play on our adult team. So how much did that affect the way you wanted to be a parent?
Well, it comes from same way, what you see, through your eyes, that shapes how you act. I feel a lot of it. Kind of the nature versus nurture thing. For me, it was a positive influence. I had great parents that supported me. They went to measures that most parents wouldn't go to see to it that I could play baseball and play at a high level and play on different teams and whatnot. And if there was never a doubt, I don't ever remember from the time I was little if I said to my dad, "Hey, let's go play ball. Let's go." I don't ever remember him telling me no. I don't have time or I'm busy. Which is what I try and convey to my kids. The schedule, always doesn't allow it, but you learn to make time for things like that. Because looking back now, at the time I just wanted to play catch. I just wanted to spend time with Dad. But he realized how important that was to me, and kind of flipping it around, I think he got enjoyment out of it too down the road. Even when we weren't playing catch, we weren't hitting in the backyard or whatever, going to the field. He got to watch me play when I was, high school, college, after I'd moved on from, him being my coach and my mentor to guys like you that, he could sit back and kind of reap the fruits of it and enjoy the game a little bit. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, again, when you talk about players I've coached over years and, just the entire family unit, yours is one that really always just sticks out in my mind.
Yep.
And, obviously another good friend of yours, Pete Jordan, falls into that same category where, into the Optimist, adult team, he was, his parents were there at so many games as well. So, and again, just supportive of, everything that the organization did as well, which meant, the world to us. 'Cause a lot of times, when you're getting a phone call from a parent, it's generally not a great conversation. But anytime I saw Rick Stover's name pop up on my phone, like, I wanted to answer the phone because, first of all, I knew he was going to make me laugh about something.
Something probably off color even. But
and if he was going to get on me about anything, it was that I wasn't hard enough on you.
Yeah. No,
How'd you let him get away with that one, DC?
Yeah. Or what was he thinking there? Why would he do that? But it's definitely. It's one of those things too. At that stage of life too, you don't really take it. You don't really observe it. But now that you reflect on it, now that I'm coming into parenthood and coaching and all that, you look back and you're like, man, I was really blessed to have that. At the time, it is what it is. Mom and Dad are, they're here again.
Right.
Don't make eye contact with them. Act like you don't see them. But yeah, no, it's cool.
No, it's so true. I saw Steve Jobs do a commencement speech for, I think, Stanford a few years ago. He talked about connecting the dots.
Yep.
And he's like, when you can't really connect the dots until you look back.
Yep.
You don't understand why things are happening the way they're happening until you look back, and then you're like, oh, I see that. So I think you're still young, and I think your ability to look back and connect those dots already is a blessing for sure. Because a lot of times, it's until people are my age when they finally start to really look back and connect the dots, and they're like, oh wow, that is why this happened.
And you can kind of tie that to baseball too. Baseball is a game of adjustments. If you don't have the team to make the adjustment, you're going to lose. You're going to come out on the losing end. And part of that comes from reflection. You got to look and say, hey, what did we do wrong last inning that, we had this situation, this should have been the outcome, and we didn't get that. What can we do this inning to make that happen? Or last game, we lost the heartbreaker that we had in our back pocket. how do I prevent that from happening this time? And that's part of the reflection of it, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, and learning from mistakes.
Yep.
You know, life is about making mistakes, about failure. It's just, do we learn from that failure? Do we learn from those mistakes? And I think that's the biggest thing, you know, that I have tried to teach my players throughout the years. Like, look, we are going to make mistakes.
Yep.
But what did we learn from it, and how do we not make it continuously?
Yep.
You know, so if you boot the ground ball, just eat it. Don't make a second mistake by now sailing it over this first baseman's head and giving up 3 bases or whatever the case is, instead of just eating it. You made the mistake. Let's move on. So, about work life. I mean, being an RN, being in the medical field. You know, how has baseball really correlated to, you know, your experience?
Same way. Teaches you teamwork, like I had mentioned. Especially now with this pandemic going on. A lot of unforeseen circumstances are coming up, and they're being thrown in your lap. Not on a personal level only, but, you know, on a hospital system-wide level. You can look at, you know, state, federal, all these agencies kind of have to work together to try and get the positive outcomes to help stay ahead of this. And that kind of comes from baseball as well. You look at it and you say, hey, this is what's coming, okay? Standing in the batter's box, he's got me in a 0-2 count. Like, you kind of got to be a little defensive. That's a little different. What you're going to try and do there is going to be a little different than the situation if it's a 2-0 count in your favor. So you kind of got to plan ahead, where that's what this is helping with right now. Same aspect. From there, you can look at, you know, just being involved. Being there is part of it. You know, you can't just show up and expect to have a good outcome. You got to actually participate in it and actively be involved in getting a successful outcome, and, you know, getting through the shift, getting through the week, getting through the pandemic, whatever it is. You got to kind of look forward and take it one step at a time. So
cool. We're just about out of time. Normally I give my guests a heads up on my final question.
Okay.
I didn't on
That's fine. I'm okay.
So I'm going to blindside you on this.
Let's go with it.
The subtitle of my podcast, you know, it's Journey of My Mother's Son. Subtitle is Many Little People in Many Little Places.
Yep.
And it's derived from a song by a guy by the name of Michael Franti. The song's Gloria, and the opening lyrics say, when many little people in many little places do many little things, then the whole world changes.
Yep.
So I always like to ask my guests, if there's one thing now that you can kind of reflect on, or one of the things that you're doing, one little thing that you're doing in your life to make the world a better place, what would it be?
For me, I want to have my children. I have 3 boys. I want to help them be contributing members of society. That doesn't mean they have to all throw 95 miles an hour from the left side and making millions of dollars or anything like that, but just be positive influences, because when it comes back to, like you're saying, many little people doing many little things, you can make big changes. That's totally true. Any aspect can be, you know, from your day-to-day life, you know, getting up and going out the door and putting your boots on and, you know, going working at 9 to 5 and contributing to society, paying your taxes, doing the right things, you know, the day-to-day things. That stuff's just as important. You can use the trash man analogy. Without trash men in the world's going to be a mess, and many people overlook that. I want to teach them that it's, you know, it's okay to be the trash man. That's not something that should be frowned upon. Make the world a better place. Help do your part, so the next guy can have it just as good as you do, if not better.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So proud to be able to say that you were a Berkshire alumni, and that I was able to personally coach you. I love the fact that you wore the Berkshire hat.
Just for you, Dan.
Kyle is a diehard St. Louis Cardinals fan, so he threw the Red Sox hat on.
Yeah.
He wore that so many years in our organization, just for me. So we've definitely exchanged a lot of jabs over the years as to, you know, when the Red Sox were going to...
04, you got lucky. 04, you got lucky. He'll give you that one.
So, but again, I thank you. Thank you for letting us stay in your yard.
Heck yeah.
Thank you for 2 wonderful meals that you cooked.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Not only is he an RN, but he's a great cook as well. So I just thank you for everything. Thank you for your friendship. And folks, as always, check out my other blogs and podcasts at danclouser.com. Kyle, thanks again so much.
No problem, DC. Appreciate it.